There is a profound difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is a state of lack, a hunger for connection that remains unfulfilled. Solitude, on the other hand, is a choice, a deliberate retreat from the noise of the world to cultivate personal strength. A woman who walks alone does not do so out of necessity, but out of power. She understands what few dare to acknowledge, that true strength is found in the moments when one stands alone, unshaken by the absence of others. Most people cling to relationships out of fear. They fear the silence, the stillness, the confrontation with their own thoughts. They use friendships as a buffer against the weight of existence, mistaking constant companionship for security. But this woman has learned a different lesson. She has embraced solitude not as a curse, but as a gift. One that allows her to sharpen her mind, refine her purpose, and move through life with a clarity that the constantly distracted can never achieve. When a person is alone, they are forced to rely on themselves. There is no one to validate their choices, no external force to dictate their path. In this space of self-reliance, they learn the full extent of their capabilities. They are not swayed by the fleeting emotions of others, nor are they influenced by the ever-changing tides of public opinion. Instead, they forge an unshakable core, one that does not bend to the will of the crowd. This kind of solitude is rare, for it requires discipline. The weak seek comfort in numbers, but the strong know that true power is cultivated in isolation. From solitude comes self-awareness, and from self-awareness comes mastery. The woman who chooses to walk alone is not weighed down by the trivialities that consume others. She does not waste time on meaningless conversations or seek approval from those who do not matter. Instead, she channels her energy into her own development, making her mind a fortress and her will unbreakable. And so, while the world may misunderstand her, she remains unmoved. Others may see her as distant, but she is simply focused. They may mistake her silence for weakness, but in truth it is the foundation of her strength. In solitude, she finds the space to grow, the power to act, and the freedom to be untouchable. Friendship is often regarded as a necessity, a pillar of emotional support that everyone must have to navigate life. But beneath the surface of companionship lies an uncomfortable truth. Friendship, when not carefully chosen, can become a source of limitation rather than strength. It is not merely about sharing moments of joy or hardship. It is a structure filled with expectations, obligations, and even their destiny. A woman who walks without friends has understood something that many refuse to acknowledge. Friendship, when bound by dependency, is a chain disguised as comfort. She sees how people surrender pieces of themselves to maintain bonds, adjusting their words, suppressing their instincts, and compromising their goals to fit within the confines of social acceptance. She recognizes that in the name of companionship, people allow themselves to be subtly controlled, their choices no longer fully their own. Every relationship comes with unspoken rules. Friends expect loyalty, availability, and emotional investment. But what happens when these expectations conflict with personal ambition? What happens when maintaining a friendship demands a sacrifice that is too great? Most would comply, believing that the loss of connection is too high a price to pay. But a woman who values her independence above all else refuses to be bound by such constraints. She does not let the fear of solitude dictate her path. Instead, she prioritizes her own clarity, free from the distractions and compromises that come with keeping others close. This does not mean she is incapable of trust or connection. It means she is selective, choosing carefully where to place her energy. She understands that a true bond is rare and that most friendships are built on convenience rather than deep, unwavering loyalty. Instead of filling her life with superficial attachments, she sharpens her ability to stand on her own. The world often misunderstands this stance, labeling her as cold or distant. But in truth, she has simply freed herself from the need for constant validation. She does not fear being alone because she has built a foundation so strong that she does not require external reinforcement. She is not swayed by social pressures or the need for approval. In choosing solitude over weak alliances, she has chosen strength over compromise, ensuring that every step she takes is her own, unshackled by the expectations of others. Betrayal is a shadow that lingers in the space between trust and expectation. Most people believe that friendship offers protection, that having others around ensures loyalty and security. But those who have experienced the sting of disloyalty know otherwise. They know that proximity does not guarantee trust, that words of affection often mask hidden motives, and that the people closest to you are the ones best positioned to strike when it serves them. A woman who walks without friends understands this truth. She has seen how alliances shift, how promises dissolve in the face of personal gain, and how even the sincerest bonds are often tested by circumstance. She does not indulge in illusions of unwavering loyalty, nor does she gamble her peace on the unpredictable nature of human relationships. Instead, she removes the possibility of betrayal entirely by choosing solitude over false companionship. Most betrayals do not happen in an instant. They unfold gradually, disguised as harmless actions. An overlooked lie, a whispered secret, a small act of selfishness. These minor fractures in loyalty accumulate over time until one day they break into something undeniable. The woman who walks alone does not allow herself to be caught in this slow unraveling. She does not give others the opportunity to use her vulnerabilities against her, nor does she wait for disillusionment to teach her lessons she already understands. By keeping her distance, she ensures that her energy is never wasted on those who might one day turn against her. She is not distracted by the need to maintain relationships or to constantly assess who is truly on her side. Instead, she invests in herself, channeling her time and focus into her own strength. Without the weight of unreliable bonds, she moves through life with clarity, never second-guessing her decisions based on the opinions or shifting loyalties of others. Some may mistake her caution for fear, but they do not realize that it is wisdom. She has simply chosen a path where betrayal holds no power over her because she has removed its possibility from her life. In doing so, she remains untouchable. She does not experience the emotional turbulence that others endure when friendships crumble. She does not suffer the pain of misplaced trust. And most importantly, she remains in control, never at the mercy of another's changing heart. Independence is the foundation of all true power. Those who rely on others for validation, direction, or emotional stability will always be vulnerable to external forces. A woman who walks alone understands this. She has freed herself from the need for approval, from the invisible chains that keep most people bound to the expectations and judgments of others. By refusing to be dependent on friendships, she ensures that her power remains solely in her own hands. Most people underestimate the cost of attachment. They believe that surrounding themselves with others provides strength, yet they fail to see how it dilutes their focus and weakens their resolve. The opinions of friends shape their decisions, their ambitions are unconsciously adjusted to fit the group, and their emotions are influenced by the moods and actions of those around them. This is a subtle form of control, one that most never recognize until it is too late. A woman who walks alone does not experience this. She is not burdened by the emotions or expectations of others. Her thoughts remain clear, her decisions purely her own. She does not seek permission to act, nor does she hesitate out of fear of disappointing those around her. This grants her an unshakable sense of direction, allowing her to move with purpose while others waver, caught between their own desires and the influence of those they call friends. Power belongs to those who are self-sufficient. The fewer attachments a person has, the fewer weaknesses they expose. The woman who embraces solitude understands that dependency is a silent trap, one that weakens even the strongest minds. She does not allow herself to be emotionally entangled in relationships that could one day be used against her. Instead, she cultivates an inner strength that makes her untouchable. This independence does not mean she is incapable of connection. It means she chooses carefully. She does not form alliances out of fear of being alone, but rather out of strategy, ensuring that any bond she creates serves a purpose rather than becoming a liability. By standing apart, she forces others to respect her, to see her as an entity unto herself rather than a piece of a collective. While others seek security in numbers, she finds power in standing alone, and in doing so, she ensures that her fate is always her own, unshaped by the hands of anyone but herself. Silence is often misunderstood. People associate it with weakness, with a lack of presence, with isolation. But those who grasp its true power know otherwise. Silence is not absence, it is control. It is the ability to withhold, to observe, to shape perception without revealing too much. A woman who walks alone understands this. She knows that speaking too freely, trusting too easily, and exposing too much of oneself is a dangerous game. Instead, she embraces the power of being an enigma. Most people are desperate to be heard. They spill their thoughts without restraint, eager for validation, seeking connection at any cost. In doing so, they reveal their desires, their weaknesses, and their fears. Every word they speak becomes a tool that others can use against them, a window into their vulnerabilities. This woman, however, does not make such mistakes. She has learned that true power lies not in how much one shares, but in how much one withholds. By keeping her thoughts to herself, she ensures that no one truly knows her intentions. She does not scatter her emotions in every direction, nor does she allow others to dissect her mind. This makes her unpredictable, and unpredictability commands both fear and respect. When people cannot easily read someone, they tread carefully, unsure of what lies beneath the surface. This uncertainty gives her an advantage. She is never fully exposed, never entirely understood, and therefore never easily controlled. Mystery is a shield. It forces others to speculate, to wonder, to second guess, and in that uncertainty she holds the power. Those who talk too much often find themselves trapped by their own words, their intentions laid bare for the world to manipulate. But the woman who moves in silence dictates her own narrative. She is an unreadable force, one who cannot be easily influenced because no one knows exactly what she is thinking. This ability to remain elusive is not a weakness but a carefully cultivated strength. It allows her to navigate the world without interference, to make decisions without external pressure, and to command attention without demanding it. People are drawn to what they do not fully understand, and in her quiet reserve, she becomes a figure of intrigue. By choosing when to speak and when to remain silent, she ensures that she is never at the mercy of anyone's expectations. She remains untouchable, known by many yet truly understood by none. Loyalty is often spoken of as a virtue, something to be given freely and without hesitation. People are taught that trust is the foundation of relationships, that to belong, one must invest in others. But the woman who walks alone has learned a different lesson. Loyalty, when misplaced, is a weakness. It binds people to obligations that do not serve them, forces them to compromise for the sake of others, and ultimately leaves them vulnerable to betrayal. She refuses to make this mistake. Instead of scattering her loyalty among many, she reserves it for the one person who has never failed her, herself. Most people are conditioned to put others before themselves. They give their energy, their time, and their trust to those who may or may not deserve it. They shape their decisions around maintaining relationships, even when those relationships no longer benefit them. This woman has rejected that conditioning. She understands that self-loyalty is not selfishness, it is self-preservation. It is the decision to prioritize one's own well-being above the unpredictable nature of human relationships. By placing herself first, she ensures that her choices are never dictated by obligation or emotional manipulation. She does not feel compelled to sacrifice her dreams for the comfort of others, nor does she allow guilt to dictate her actions. Her path is her own, and she does not apologize for walking it without hesitation. This unwavering self-loyalty grants her a rare kind of freedom. While others hesitate, worrying about how their choices will affect their friendships, she moves forward without restraint. She does not waste time seeking approval or fearing rejection. She does not compromise her standards to maintain weak bonds. Instead, she commits fully to herself, knowing that she alone is responsible for her success, her happiness, and her survival. This does not mean she is incapable of love, trust, or connection. It simply means that she chooses carefully, never placing her fate in the hands of another. She does not need constant reassurance, nor does she fear solitude. In choosing to be her own greatest ally, she has removed the greatest risk of all: dependence on others. Where most people seek strength in numbers, she finds it in herself, and in doing so, she becomes untouchable. Because no betrayal, no loss, no absence of another can ever break the loyalty she has built within.